Hey y'all, I am here to record my second episode of American Horror Story. This was also a really good episode. The name of this episode was called Pale. This is American Horror Story Season 10 double feature. Now we're gonna pick up where we left off, and in the opening scene, they are getting ready to get packed up to leave. They have actually packed their things up, gotten back in the car, and the last episode we left off, Harry had just taken a pill and Alma actually saw him take the black pill. So when they are in the car, the pill kicks in and Harry has all of these visions and everything is just completely clear. So he jumps out of the car and he's like, look, I have to write right now and I have to get all of this down on paper. So Harry's back in the house and he is just typing. He is just like, the ideas are flowing and he is getting everything out. He is like typing at record speed. Like, he's probably typing like 200 words a minute. So all you hear is him typing on the little keys on the keyboard. And Alma is playing her violin. She's trying to learn a piece by Paganini. And she tells her mom that she saw her dad take a pill. And she also mentions that maybe that it was Adderall that he took, because she heard that some kids take Adderall to focus. Now, Doris is upset. You know, she's not upset, but she's kind of suspicious because she's like, what is going on with you? And she's like questioning him, like, did you take speed? Like, what did you take? This is just not normal. And Alma comes out and she's like, look, Dad, I did see you take a pill. And he just snaps on her and he's like, don't be jealous of me because I found my inspiration and you can't even get Paganini down pat. You can't even play it. And he hurts her feelings and she kind of runs off, and Doris is upset because she's like, why would you talk to our daughter that way? They get into a big fight and Harry just goes back to writing his pilot because he just has all of these ideas and he wants to get them down right now. Now, in the next scene, Doris is making them sandwiches because Harry's been working on this for like ever. He stayed up all night working on this pilot and this series that he's supposed to be writing to turn into his publicist. And when she gives him the sandwich, he takes a bite of the sandwich and immediately he realizes that the sandwich does not taste right and he just spits it out in the trash can. So the pill has had the effect on Harry to the point where he now cannot eat food. So Harry decides to take a walk to the grocery store, and when he sees the meat, like his heart just starts pumping and he has like this physical reaction to seeing the meat, and I'm thinking the blood that is also in the meat. So he starts putting the meat into the basket, and Karen pops out of nowhere. She's like, you took the pill. I know you took it. I can tell. And the grocery store owner, Mikey, he comes up and he's like, oh, so you found your inspiration, huh? And Harry was like, yeah. He was like, right. So Karen knows that he's taking the pill and Mikey knows that he's taking the pill, but for some reason they are protected somehow. We already know that Karen's protected by bringing Sarah, the babies, and we don't know yet how Mikey's protected. I hope we'll find that out later in the episode. So he buys the meat and he takes the meat back to the house and he's draining all of the blood out of the meat into like a cup. And he ends up drinking the blood that he drained out of the meat. And then he takes all of the meat and he puts it in a blender. And he blends that up really good. And then he ends up drinking that. So, in the next scene, Doris is talking to her daughter, Alma, in the room. And she's like, look, I don't know what's going on, but your dad has found his inspiration. He's a really good writer. So we're just going to let him just write. And Alma brings up again, like, well, maybe I should take the same pill that Dad took, because then I would be really focused and I would be able to play Paganini perfectly without any, mess ups. So let me see, Sarah. Okay, so during this time, Sarah and Austin are in a car outside of their house, and they're discussing Harry taking the pill, and they know that he's taking it, and they're like, yeah, the first time that you take the pill, the first 3 days, they are like, you are on like cloud 9, and those are the best 3 days. But they kind of allude to the fact that he's going to need to keep taking the pills to keep his blood flowing and keep these ideas coming out, to avoid going back into him having writer's block. So then they say, well, after they discuss Harry, he's like, well, I'm ready for a snack. Let's go. So they must be going to find someone to eat, because we now know that they are bloodsuckers. So Harry and Doris are in the kitchen. They're having a fight again, and she's getting really irritated because he keeps pushing back the date that they're supposed to be leaving. And he's like, I need another day. I need 2 more days. And now he's saying, why can't we just stay for another week? And all the while, Doris is chopping up these vegetables, and they keep kind of zooming in, kind of focusing on her chopping up the vegetables. So we know at some point in time she's going to cut her finger, which she did because she wasn't paying attention. And when Harry sees the blood, his heart starts pumping, and he just kind of lunges at her and takes her finger because she cut her finger, and he takes the finger and he's just like sucking on the blood, and she's trying to pull her finger away from him, and Harry is not letting go, and she is just like, what are you doing? And she kind of pushes him off of her, and he's just like panting really hard, and while he's on the counter, he has blood dripping down his chin, and she's looking at him like, what is going on? So Harry goes back to visit Austin, and he's like, look, what was in those pills? Because I took the pill, all of a sudden I can't eat food, and now I'm drinking blood out of raw meat. Like, what is going on? What have you given me? What have you done to me? And Austin basically lets him know, like, look, when people take this pill, if you have talent, the pill works. If you don't have talent, it does not work, and you just turn into these bloodsuckers that kind of just wander around the town looking for fresh blood. But if you don't have any talent and you take the pill, it does not do anything besides turn you into a bloodsucker. So somehow this pill is kind of tied in to people who have talent. So he tells him, in order to keep everything going, you're going to have to start eating people. Like, you need some warm blood with some life flowing through it. And Harry is just disgusted at this point. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm not going to be eating people. And Sarah Cunningham shows up. Well, she's already in the house, and she tries to offer him a joint. And Austin's like, I'm sorry. Harry's like, no. No, Austin said, no, that's not what he needs. He needs blood. He needs warm human blood. So Harry said, no, I'm not going to start eating people. And Austin said, well, that's fine. Just stop taking the pill. Go back to having writer's block. Go back to being a mediocre writer. So Harry, when he gets back to the house, he kind of tells Doris that, you know what, I'm decided. We are going to leave tomorrow. We can go ahead and pack up. During the course of that, he gets a call from his agent, Ursula, and she's like, look, I got the pilot that you sent in. I got the episodes that you sent in. They love it. Netflix wants to offer you a deal. Joaquin Phoenix wants to work with us. And it seems like Doris has kind of forgotten all the red flags and things that they've gone through since they've been there. And she's just like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. You know, she's hugging Harry, and she's like, I love Joaquin Phoenix. I cannot believe that he wants to work with you. So she's really excited. So at this point, you know, I feel like all the worries that she had about Harry, like kind of going into overdrive, working and trying to write up this pilot, has just gone completely out of the window once she realizes that he has this next Netflix deal or Netflix offer plus an offer to work with Joaquin Phoenix, who's going to play as an actor in the screenwrite that Harry has sent in to his publisher. Okay. So Harry sits down to continue writing, and he realizes that he has writer's block again. So he ends up going back to Austin's house because he's like, you know what, my idea, like this season that I just wrote, this show was just too good. I want to keep this going. So he ends up going back to visit Austin to go back and get another pill. And Austin and Sarah let him know, like, look, the pill you took is called the Muse, and when you take this, you just get super focused. So they let him know that they only take the pills during the wintertime, and they don't take it in the summertime. But in the meantime, they have to feed on people. And Harry asked them, like, how often do we have to do this? And they're like, if you get enough, once a week. So they explain to him that they eat people that no one will miss, like drug addicts, murderers, and robbers, and things like that. And that there's 2 rules when it comes to this. You do not eat anybody in Provincetown, and you always wear gloves. Those are the 2 main rules that he has to follow. So he goes out with Austin and Sarah, and he goes off with them, and then we cut to the scene where Karen is actually at Mickey's house. Mickey is the character that Macaulay Culkin is playing. So they're kind of in the room talking, and Mickey lets her know, like, look, I have 2 of these pills. And Karen's like, please don't take it. I don't want you to turn into one of those things. Like, that is the last thing I want. I would never want to be like Sarah. I would do whatever I have to do, but I would just absolutely not take any of those pills because I don't want to turn into one of those things. Okay, we find out that Karen is a painter because she took a painting class at some sort of community service type thing or a community center, and Mickey has some of her paintings. And during the course of all of this, he is a writer also, and he decides to take one of the pills. So he takes it, even though he takes it in front of Karen, even though she's just like, oh my gosh, like, what have you done? So Sarah, Austin, and Harry, they're riding in the car, and they are going out to show him, how to feed, and they're letting him know, like, where they found this person from. They found this person off of Craigslist. He's selling all of these items that don't go together. He's trying to sell, like, a locked iPad and a motorcycle and a freaking sunglasses and a remote, like whatever the guy's trying to sell is things that don't go together. So they already know that this guy is some sort of drug addict that has robbed somebody, and he's selling all this stuff to try to get money for drugs. So they answer the Craigslist ad, and they go to the guy to pretend to want to buy these items off of him. And during the course of this, even though it's only into episode 2, I really enjoy the music choices that they have made from this episode, because they're like older music from, like, I would say it sounds like it's from the era of, like, the 50s through the 70s, and the music really fits in with the episode because it's old but kind of eerie at the same time, but it really meshes in well with the scenes that they are playing in each episode. Okay, so they meet with the guy from Craigslist, and they're kind of walking around like the house is in shambles, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't have any electricity or whatever, I just want to get this stuff sold. And they're like, all right, cool. But Sarah gets kind of impatient, and she's like, look, enough talk, I'm hungry. She takes something out, slashes the guy's neck. They take off their fake teeth to show their filed down teeth that make their teeth pointy, which makes it easier for them to drain blood from their victims. So once they get back in the car, Sarah lets him know, like, look, I'm going to send you to the town dentist, Dr. Feldman, and she's going to file down your teeth and give you a set of fake teeth. So we find out that Dr. Feldman is actually the character that Billie Lourd is going to be playing, but she also goes by the name Lark. Okay. She lets us know that at heart she's a tattoo artist, but she used her money from tattooing to go to dental school to kind of satisfy her parents' need for her to have higher education in a field that pays like really well. So we go back and see that Alma again is practicing Paganini because she is a perfectionist. She's an overachiever, and she really wants to get this thing down pat. So she remembers that her dad took the pill, and she remembers where she saw him put them at. So she sneaks into the living room and she finds the pill and she takes one. So little Alma has taken one of the Muse pills, okay? And after she takes this pill, she goes back, she gets her violin, and she is playing for like hours, and she is playing that Paganini piece perfectly, okay? She's playing for hours and hours and hours on end because she's just taken the Muse pill. So she's like super focused, and all of this talent is coming out. So Doris is upstairs sleeping because I don't know if I mentioned it in the last episode, but Doris is like really pregnant. Like it looks like she's in her 3rd trimester. Doris comes downstairs and she's like, honey, look, you have been playing for hours. Like, I need you to take a break. And Alma is like, no, I don't want to take a break. I want to get this perfect. And I finally, was able to do it. And, you don't understand me and Dad. I love it here. I want to stay here. And you just don't understand greatness. And her mom's like, wait a minute, where's all this sass coming from? And Alma was just like, I'm proud to be as great as I am. You don't understand greatness. And how could I have ever been this great by, even though I've been raised by you, a perfectly ordinary woman with no talent. And her mom is just pissed off. And she's like, you know what? You're grounded. Go to your room. She takes her violin from her because Alma was in the process of still going back to playing her violin, even though her mom had just asked her to stop because she needed a break from hearing that over and over and over again. So Doris takes her violin from her, and then she takes it upstairs. Also, after I'm gonna backtrack like a couple of seconds before Doris comes downstairs, Alma, after she's been playing for hours, she kind of passes out. And when she wakes up, that's when her mom comes downstairs and kind of confronts her and asks her to stop playing. So after she snapped at her mom sends her upstairs. She tells her she's grounded and that they're leaving because Doris is just seeing too many changes in both her husband and her daughter. Okay. And Alma kind of tells her mom in the process, like, you know what, you're just jealous. And she's just letting her know, like, look, now I don't want to leave. So after she sends Alma upstairs, she's like her feelings are hurt because her daughter is just like, has just snapped on her and talked to her crazy, just like Harry did before when he snapped at Alma. But it seems like that's a side effect of the Muse. It kind of makes them really arrogant and, makes them kind of, I guess arrogant is the right word to use because they feel like I've discovered all this greatness and you're just trying to take it away from me. So Harry ends up going for a run down the coast, and he's jogging down the beach, and he stops under a pier, and the guy was like, look, what do you need? Because there's just a random guy just standing under the pier, and he's there for prostitution purposes. But Harry ends up eating the guy after the guy's like, hey, what do you need? I'm here. I usually don't get, in the summertime, business is booming. This is like a meetup spot for all of the guys in town looking to have a fun time and stuff like that. And they go back to Doris, when he gets back to the house, Doris comes downstairs and she's looking for Alma. And she's like, where is she? Like, why would you let her go outside? We got chased by one of those things. And you just allowed our daughter to go outside alone by herself. And I just don't feel safe in this town. So Doris goes out and she proceeds to look for Alma. And when she finds Alma, Alma is at the cemetery, crouched down in front of a headstone. And Alma, Doris kind of walks up to her and she's like, Alma, what are you doing? And when she reaches down to touch her shoulder, Alma looks up at her mom and she has blood all over her face. And her mom sees that she's eating a dead animal, probably a squirrel or something. And then the episode goes off. So in this episode, we have a second person who is taking the Muse, and it's little Alma, which I kind of figured because she has the musical talent and her dad has the writer's talent. And honestly, I feel like in future episodes, Doris is going to be the next one to take the Muse, because she has this interior decorating thing going on, which is, I feel like, an artistic talent. And she is not able to figure out how she should redecorate the house, because that's part of the deal that she has with the people that they're renting the house from, because that's one of the reasons why they're letting them live there for the first 3 months without rent. So that's just my kind of hypothesis on what's going to happen in the next episode, which is going to be airing on Wednesday. But since I watch it on Hulu, I won't be able to watch it until Thursday. So I'm looking forward to this next episode of American Horror Story. I have actually enjoyed these first 2 episodes. I know some people have expressed, because I do watch other reviews after I watch the show and after I kind of make my notes for my review. And I know some people have questioned certain things as far as the teeth and as far as people having artistic talent, or exactly how the pill works and things like that. So I'm hoping that a lot of those questions will be answered towards the end of the season. Just to kind of give us more information, because we're so early into everything that there are just so many unanswered questions. So I'm really ready to see kind of how much more we get to learn in this 3rd episode that's going to be coming up on Wednesday for some and Thursday for others. And that's the end of this part. Now, I can say that the trailer kind of threw me off a little bit, because I was wanting to see, I'm wondering the whole time, okay, when does the alien aspect come into the show? And some people have said that this is going to be half of the season is going to be one story, which is the Red Tide story, which is about the bloodsuckers, who I really don't want to call them vampires, because there's kind of different elements to them that kind of put them in the vampire category, but also outside of the vampire category. And then the last half of the season is going to be about the incorporation of the aliens, or just a completely different story that is dealing with the aliens, since this is a double feature season for this season. So I feel like they're trying to do something different. And since I'm a really diehard fan of American Horror Story, I will stick around until the last episode to kind of see what's going to happen, because I've been waiting for this season, especially ever since I found out that this season was even going to air and that they were even working on it. So let me know what you guys' thoughts were when it came to this particular episode. I really enjoyed this episode. I would give this episode a thumbs up. And please don't forget to like this video, share, subscribe, and also you can click the notification button so that you can be aware of when I post a video, so that you can be one of the first people to watch it. And also, I want to thank everybody who have subscribed up until this point. I'm still working on my goal of getting up to 25 subscribers. So if you guys would be so kind as to help me with that, subscribe to my little channel, because I'm slowly chugging along trying to, gain my subscribers. So that is it for Pale episode 2 of American Horror Story 10. You guys have a good night, and I will see you later on in this week when I review American Horror Stories episode 3. I do not know the name of that episode just yet, but we'll find out the name of it later. I kind of don't want to have any of the information spoiled for me, so I'm okay with finding out the name of the episode the night that it comes out, instead of kind of being able to say, well, I'll review this episode called this on Wednesday. So I'm just going along for this American Horror Story season 10 ride, just like everybody else. So thank y'all for watching my review. Thank you for all of the support that I have been getting so far, and I will see you guys later in the week. All right, good night, y'all.